Bride Brook, and this is Bride Lake here behind us, and this is our premier alewife run here in Connecticut. What we're doing here today, and what you can see behind me, is actually a fish counting station. So as these alewives, which are a form of river herring, or a species of river herring, as they're coming up to spawn, we actually enumerate every single one of these fish. There's not a fish that gets in here that we don't count. So what's actually happening here is, you can see that funnel system. The fish come upstream from the ocean to spawn. They go through this funnel and they run through this crowding facility, and we're basically counting literally every single fish as they come in. So we know how many fish are spawning in the lake, and that's important for us because we're trying to track the population trends. The other thing that we'll do is, as these fish come in, once a week we take 100 fish and we sample the scales. And if you think of a fish scale almost like a tree ring, you can count it. You can think of it like a section of tree, and you can count the years of the tree. You can do that with a scale as well. So what we're doing is we're looking at that scales for the age of the fish, so we'll get an average age estimate. We can also see when those fish come in to spawn, they put down what's called a spawning mark. So we can actually look and see how many times they've spawned. So if the fish are doing better at sea, they'll live longer and they'll spawn more times. And so that's important for us moving forward for things to protect these fish. So just a little bit more about the species in general. So these fish are going to be coming from down by the Carolinas, actually. So they're offshore and they're going to be out there all winter long. They're going to work up along the Jersey Shore, come up around Long Island, and they're going to start moving into here and off the mouth of Rocky Neck in March. Sometimes as early as February we'll actually get fish in here. So the fish showed up here on March 6th this year, and we've had fish running pretty consistently until the last 2 days when it got really cold, but they'll come back as soon as it warms up. Our biggest run so far has been 19,000 fish. So that's 19,000 fish that hit the shore down here at Rocky Neck and swam the 3/4 of a mile up to here and went through the fish counting facility. So our best night ever is 67,000 fish in one night through those 4 little tunnels. To give you an idea of how many fish that is, a couple years ago when the populations were doing worse than they are right now, we only had 187,000 fish statewide, and a vast majority of those fish are here. Our record run here is 409,000 fish that came up this tiny little brook into this pond, and there's another pond that you can't see further upstream, but it's a lot of fish that come up through here. And so the reason that we are monitoring these is these fish are incredibly important, not so much as a recreational fish anymore. Because the numbers have been low, we have had to put a moratorium in place, which means that you can't recreationally or commercially harvest these fish anymore. The goal here is to get back to that, to get to a place where we can recreationally harvest these. We can take them for food, we can take them for commercial reasons as well, whether it be lobster bait like they do in Maine. But the whole goal is to get back to something sustainable, so we can get what's called the Sustainable Fisheries Management Plan in place. But outside of that, everything eats these fish, right? So when they're coming upstream to spawn, birds, wildlife, they're all here to eat these fish. So there's ospreys around us today, there's eagles around us, herons. They're here to eat these fish. As these fish are spawning, everything in the lake eats the eggs. As the adults are leaving, it's the same thing in reverse. So the birds are eating them all again. There's large fish at sea eating them again. And then the juveniles are hatching. There's juveniles in the lake all the way until November. Everything's eating the juveniles while they're in here. And then as they leave, and the whole time they're at sea. So it's a forage fish, basically. These things are prolific spawners. They can have between 100 and 300,000 eggs in them. They can spawn up to 3 times in a year, and they can repeat spawn up to 6 times. So they can literally create millions and millions of offspring. And that's important because they're coming up now, right? As you can see around us, there's no leaves. There's not a lot of energy in the ecosystem right now. This is marine-derived nutrients coming from the ocean, going into a pond that's very cold with a bunch of very hungry fish and birds, and it provides food for them at a time when there's really nothing else to eat. So